Here we're going to take a look at journalizing and posting transactions that involve a subsidiary ledger, such as the accounts receivable ledger or the accounts payable ledger. The example that I'm using here is number 11-12B or 10-12B. In some texts, it's 10-11B problem. And I am actually in this video, I'm going April 1st through April 9th. Here are the rest of the transactions from that problem if you wanted to ask any questions about any of those. All of those transactions are similar to the transactions that we'll be working with April 1st through April 9th. So let's get started. Here it says that Paul Jackson owns a retail business. The following sales returns and cash receipts are for April of 2020. There's a 7% sales tax, which needs to be added to all sales, regardless of whether it's sales on account or cash sales. Sales tax has to be computed on all sales. This example again goes through April 9th. We have some beginning balances for the general ledger of cash, and accounts receivable have some beginning balances, and then we also have some beginning balances of customers, K. Moncrief and M. Richfield. So one of the first things that you're going to want to do is get your ledger set up. And I have posted some blank ledgers that you can use and just modify, and we can use those and get some of these beginning balances in there. So let's take a look at those. Okay, so here's our general ledger. That includes a ledger account. In real life, it would have one for every account that's in the chart of accounts. Now here for Chapter 10 and 11, this one's for Chapter 10, and it only just has the accounts that you actually need. I did not include all the rest of the accounts. So there's cash, and the account number is there as well. Accounts receivable, sales tax payable, sales returns and allowances. These are all the accounts that you would need for the homework problem in Chapter 10. Then I include the accounts receivable ledger, and here's 4 sets of ledgers for 4 customers. And again, you can use this for your Chapter 10 homework problem. And you'll just have to put the names of the customers on their particular ledger. Okay, so let's take a look at what those beginning balances are. We have cash is $2864.54. Okay, so we go to cash. We put in our date. This is April, and this is a balance that came forward from March 31st. The item column is generally blank, but you can put a beginning balance in there, or if it's an adjusting or closing entry or something odd, you can put something in there. Otherwise, item column is blank. Okay, we go all the way over to the balance column. Of course, this is cash. It's an asset, so it has a debit balance, so we'll only be using the debit balance column. Okay, and that was $2864.54 was our beginning balance. Okay, and here we have accounts receivable is $2726.25 beginning balance. Okay, so here's accounts receivable. We'll do the same thing there. April 1st. This is a beginning balance. And we go all the way over to the balance column. 2726.25. And so those were our two beginning balances for the general ledger. So now let's take a look. Here's our beginning balances for the customers for accounts receivable ledger. So we've got K Moncrief as 482. So we're going to go down to our accounts receivable ledger. Here's one of them. K Moncrief. And we have April 1st, beginning balance, and that was $482. And we have M Richfield, 2244.25. M Richfield. April 1st, beginning balance, 2244.25. Okay, so now we have all of our ledgers are set up and we have our beginning balances in. Now, if you didn't use the ledger sheets I provided, you can make your own ledger sheets on Excel or on accounting paper by hand, however suits your fancy, but you would get all your ledgers set up first and get all your beginning balances in there as well. Now we can start on our transactions. So on April 1st, we have invoice 111 to O.L. Myers as the customer, and it's a sale on account 2100. Now remember, there's a 7% sales tax on every sale. So I have to calculate out the 2100 times 0.07 or 7%. Okay, and if we calculate that out, we have $147. Okay, so that'll total $2247 that O.L. Myers actually owes us. $2100 that's for the sale, and $147 that we got to collect for sales tax and then hand it to the state. Okay, so here we're going to have to first go to our journal and journalize this. This is on April 1st. So here's my general journal. If you need to change the page number, there's the page number, and you can modify that or change it. Okay, here's April 1st. Okay, and this is a sale on account. So that means that we're increasing the fact that the customer owes us, which is accounts receivable. So we're going to be debiting accounts receivable. And we also have to put the name of the customer on there, which is O.L. Myers. And that was the 2100 plus the 147, so that's 2247 is how much O.L. Myers, the customer, owes us. Then we go down to the next, and we have to credit. So we're going to space over to indent. We're going to credit sales. That's our revenue account. Credit them the 2100. And we also need to credit or increase our sales tax payable liability account. Sales tax payable. the amount that we now owe the state, which is $147. Now my debits equal my credits, so I'm good to go there. For your explanation, you can say sales on account, but you don't really even need to say that. But mainly you have to have the invoice number. So this is number 111. So that's going to go as your explanation. If anybody needed to check out this, they could go find sales invoice number 111 and look it up and see exactly what was involved with that invoice. All right, now before I go on to this next one, I have to ask myself, is there anything in this journal entry that needs to be posted right now? Yes, whenever I have a customer that's involved, I have to post that right away. Okay, I can't wait. Now, like the sales and the sales tax payable, I can post them later if I want to, but the O.L. Myers must be posted right away. So we're going to go to the ledger. We're going to find O.L. Myers in the accounts receivable ledger. Well, we don't have it there yet. O.L. Myers didn't have a previous balance, so we'll set it up. O.L. Myers. Okay, then we're going to copy the date, April 1st. This is just like posting in the general ledger that you did in chapter 4. Okay, and I don't have anything in the item column. Step 2 is to copy the amount. This was $22.47 debit to O.L. Myers, so I've got that in. Step 3 is the running total balance. The previous balance is 0, so 0 plus $22.47 is $22.47. Where did this information come to? Step 4 is to record what page of the journal it came from. So J1 or GJ1, either one is acceptable. Now I can also go ahead and post this to the general ledger. So if I look at the journal, okay, I have to post it to 2 different things. This debit is posted to O.L. Myers, but it's also posted to accounts receivable in the general ledger. Okay, so now I'm going to go up in my ledgers up to the accounts receivable in the general ledger. I'm going to copy the date. Of course, I don't put the month again. The month's already there. Skip the item. Copy the debit amount, $22.47, and go over to the balance. Now here we have a previous balance, $27, $26, $25. And of course, accounts receivable is an asset, so that's a debit balance. And what we just put in, the $22.47, is a debit. And our rule of thumb is debit and debit is add, credit and credit is add, debit and credit is subtract. So here we have 2 debits, so we're going to add those. So if I take 2726 and 25 cents and add 22.47 even, I get 49.73 and 25 cents. It's my new running total balance. Okay, where did this information come from? It came from J1 or GJ1. Okay, so now I've posted both the general ledger, accounts receivable, and the subsidiary ledger, O.L. Myers. So my last step of posting is to go back to the journal, and under the post reference in the journal, I put in the account number 122, which is accounts receivable, and then a slash, and then a check mark to show that I posted it to O.L. Myers. Now, I don't easily have a check mark symbol, so I can just use, say, an asterisk if you're typing it on a Word document. And that'll show that you posted it to both of these. Now, you could have just posted it to O.L. Myers and you would just have your asterisk there and then later post it to accounts receivable. And that would be fine too. Okay. And sales tax payable, we see no post reference here. I have not posted those yet. Okay. But I could go into my ledgers right now if I want to, or I can wait, either one. Okay, here's my sales account. I have April 1st. That was a credit of $2,100. And my new running total balance, since there was no previous balance, my new running total balance is $2,100 credit. This is a revenue account, so it should have a credit balance. Where did this come from? J1 or GJ1. And I go back to my journal, and I have here that went to account, that got posted to account 401. Okay, now the sales tax payable is 147. I can go to the ledger there, find sales tax payable, copy the date, April 1, copy the amount. That was a credit for $147. There was no previous balance, so our new running total balance is $147 credit. Where did this information come from? J1, and go back to the journal. And oops, let me see. I think that's account 231. Yes. Okay, count 231. Okay, so now this entire transaction is posted. Now we could have waited until we got done with the journal to post, especially the sales and the sales tax payable if we wanted to. If you were working on software, these would probably post immediately. You could hit the submit or the OK button, whatever the software has, once you're done, and it would automatically post all of these, including the O.L. Myers. But if you're doing this manually, you would definitely need to post the O.L. Myers right away. Okay, let's take a look now at the next transaction. The next transaction is on the 3rd. It's invoice number 112. The customer is Andrew Play, and it's a sale on account as well, $1,000. Okay, and again, I need to calculate out the sales tax. And so $1,000 times 0.07 is $70. So Andrew Play is going to owe us $1,070. Now I can go ahead and do my journal entry. Go to my journal, skip a line, go to the next one. This is on the 3rd. And we're debiting accounts receivable. And this was Andrew Play. Okay. Every time you have accounts receivable, from now to the rest of the semester, you got accounts receivable, you have to also put the customer's name in there, whether you're debiting accounts receivable or crediting accounts receivable. Okay, the total that Andrew Play owes us is $1,070. My indent, my sales, my revenue account is credited for the $1,000 that we sold. And I also have a liability account, the sales tax payable, that is going to be credited for the $70 that I now owe to the state. Okay, my debits equal my credits, so I put in my explanation, and that was invoice number 112. So that's all I really need to put in there. Before I go on, I say, is there anything in there that needs to be posted to a subsidiary ledger? Yes, I have a customer, Andrew Play. So I have to, at the very minimum, I have to post Andrew Play. I'm going to go ahead and post accounts receivable and Andrew Play. I'm not going to worry in the rest of this demonstration about sales and sales tax payable. Okay, so we're going to go into our ledger. Here, we got to find our accounts receivable ledger. Okay, we need Andrew Play. We don't have one, so we'll set one up. Andrew Play. And we copy the date, which is April the 3rd. We copy the amount, which was 1,070. Our new balance, since the previous balance was 0, 0 plus 1070 is 1070. Where did this information come to that we copied? From J1. And we're going to go back to the journal and put our check mark or our asterisk. I'm also going to post to accounts receivable. Okay, here's the 3rd. Copy the date. I don't need to copy the month because the month's already there. And I copy the amount, which is 1070. Debit. Now I have my new running total balance. So I have a previous balance that's a debit, and I now have a debit. Debit and debit is add. So I'm going to add 1,070 to the 4973, and so that is 6043 and 25 cents. Okay, where did that come from? J1. Okay, so now I go back to my journal, and up here I posted to accounts receivable, which is account 122. And I also posted to Andrew Play, which is a customer in the subsidiary ledger. I'm going to put a check mark, but I don't have a check mark, so I'm going to use an asterisk. Okay, then you could go on and post sales and sales tax payable, or you can do that later. I'm going to let you do that later. Okay. The next one we have on the 6th, credit memo number 42 to O.L. Myers. O.L. Myers returned merchandise back from this invoice of 111. Some of it was defective or the wrong color, whatever the issue was. $50 of it got returned. Now, just because it's a return doesn't mean we don't figure out the sales tax. If you return something to Walmart, you expect to get your money back, including your sales tax. So we have to calculate out the sales tax here as well. So we're going to take the $50 times 0.07, and we get $3.50. Okay, so okay, so we have to give back to O.L. Myers $53.50. Okay, that's what we're going to credit to his account. This was originally a sales invoice on account, so we're going to credit his account. We're not giving him a cash refund he bought on account in the first place. Okay, we're going to take $53.50 back off of his account. Now, I also, however, don't owe the state that $3.50 anymore because I gave it back to O.L. Myers. Okay, and I also need to show this $50 as a return. Okay, and this is on the 6th. Okay, so I skip my line. I record the date, which is the 6th. Okay, we're going to debit sales returns And allowances, this is a contra revenue account. So a normal revenue, sales, would be credited. But here, this is a contra revenue account. Many managers, they don't want the sales returns debited to sales because then it just gets all mixed up in the balance. They want to know exactly how many sales returns are happening in the store. And so we have a separate account, but it is a contra revenue account. It's attached to the hip to sales. It has a debit balance. So we're going to debit that, the $50. Okay. Now we're also going to debit sales tax payable. This is because we no longer owe the state this $3.50. We're decreasing a liability. An increase to a liability is a credit, but a decrease to a liability is a debit. If you recall your debit and credit charts from chapter 3. Okay, now I'm going to indent, and I'm going to credit accounts receivable because I'm taking this off O.L. Myers account. And that's the whole amount. The whole $53.50 is going to be taken off his account. My debits equal my credits. So now I can put my explanation, credit memo 42, and that was part of invoice 111. Okay, before I go on, I asked myself, is there anything in here that has to be posted right away? Yes, there's an O.L. Myers, there's a customer. I have to post that right away. On the 6th, I have a credit of $53.50. So I go to O.L. Myers in the subsidiary ledger. Here it is. I record the date. Copy the date is the 6th. I copy the amount, which is $53.50 credit. And now I have to figure out the new running total balance. The previous balance is $22.47. Because these are customers, these are all accounts receivable ledgers, and accounts receivable is a asset, which is a debit balance. This $22.47 is a debit balance. Okay, and now I have a credit. Debit and credit is subtract. So I need to take the $22.47 and subtract the $53.50, and that is $21.93 and 50 cents. Okay, is my new running total balance that O.L. Myers owes me. Okay, where did this come from? J1. Okay, I'm also going to go ahead and post to accounts receivable in the general ledger. The same thing. Copy the date is the 6th. Copy the amount, $53.50 credit. And now I need to I have again a debit balance, and now I have a credit. Debit and credit is subtract. So I have 6043 and 25 cents minus 53.50, and that's 59.89 and 75 cents is my new running total. Okay, where did this come from? J1. Now I go to my journal, last step of posting. Okay, I posted this to accounts receivable in the general ledger, which is 122, and I posted it to O.L. Myers in the subsidiary ledger, which is my asterisk. Okay, again, you'll still need to post the sales returns and allowance and the sales tax payable. Okay, let's go on to the next transaction. Here we have on the 7th, we have cash sales of $32.40. Okay, now just because it's cash sales doesn't mean it doesn't have sales tax. So I'm going to need to calculate out the sales tax. We have $32.40 times 0.07, and that's $226.80. Okay, and so let's see how much total that is. $32.40 plus the $226.80. That's $34.66.80. Okay, so I need to put this into the journal now. Okay, record the date, which is the 7th. Now this is a cash sale, not a sale on account, so we're receiving cash. When we receive cash, we debit cash, and that is for the $34.66.80. That includes both the sale and the sales tax. Okay, and then I'm going to credit my revenue. Whenever we sell stuff, we credit revenue, and that's sales, and that was for the $32.40. And we're going to also credit sales tax payable. And how much was that? That was $226.80. $226.80. Okay, so we make sure that our debits equal our credits. And for our explanation, we can put cash sales. Now, there's probably some kind of cash sales report that may be consecutively numbered. So if it was from a particular report, we would say cash sales report number, 286 or whatever it is. Okay, so here, now I ask myself, is there anything in here that must be posted right now? Well, no, there's no customers for the subsidiary ledger in this sale. Okay, these are all general ledger accounts, and so I can wait and post them later. Okay, so I can go ahead and go back to my transactions. Okay, now on the 9th, I have O.L. Myers. We received payment from O.L. Myers, and they were paying us off invoice 111 minus that credit memo from when they returned stuff, credit memo 42. Okay, so how much is that they owe us? Well, we need to look on their ledger. Okay, so we'll go to their ledger of O.L. Myers. Okay, how much do they owe us? They owe us $21.93.50. That's how much they're going to give us in cash. Okay, so I go to my journal. Okay, this is the 9th. Record the date. We're receiving cash, so I'm going to debit cash. And that's $21.93.50. And when they no longer owe us, so I'm going to credit accounts receivable, O.L. Myers, for the $21.93.50. Debits equal my credits. I'll receive payment for 111, CM42. Okay. Now I ask myself, do I need to post anything right away? Yes, I have a customer here, so I have to post that right away. So I go to my ledger, O.L. Myers, copy the date, here's the 9th, copy the amount, 2193.50, credit, okay? Here I have the previous balance. Remember, these are accounts receivable, so these are debit balances. That's a debit, this is a credit. Debit and credit is subtract. 2193.50 minus 2193.50 is 0. I asked myself, does this make sense? Did he pay us off? Yes, he paid us off. So yes, it makes sense that he should have a 0. If you take your balance minus that credit and you get something other than 0, and you know he paid us off and he doesn't owe us anything more, that better be a 0. Okay? And if it isn't, then you did something wrong somewhere along the line. Okay? Here, where did this come from? J1. Okay, got to do the same thing on accounts receivable in the general ledger. Okay, copy the date, 2193.50, copy the amount, and now I have to figure out the new running total balance. And again, the previous balance is debit, this is credit, so I'm going to subtract 59, 89, and 75 minus 2193.50, and that's 37, 96, and 25 cents. Okay, where did this come from? J1. I go back to my journal, and here on this line I credited accounts receivable, and I also credited O.L. Myers. So I've done both of them. And so now I know exactly what I've posted and what I haven't posted. I can see all these ones that I haven't posted yet. Okay, and you could go forward and post them. All right, now I'm going to, for the sake of this demonstration, I am ending right here on the 9th. As far as I'm not going to do any more transactions. Now you can do a schedule of accounts receivable on any day. Typically it's going to be done on the last day of the month after all the transactions. But we can do one right now on the 9th. Okay? Once you have everything posted into accounts receivable and you have everything posted into the subsidiary ledger, you can do the schedule of accounts receivable to make sure that everything is good. Okay, so I am going to, you would typically type that on Word or Excel. I'm just going to go ahead and use this right here. Okay, and this is Paul Jackson Company, and it is the schedule of accounts receivable, and this is for the date April 9th. Okay, so if you were doing this at the end of the month, of course, you would have April 30th would be your date in your heading. Okay, and we're going to have one column for the customer, and we're going to have one column. This is not debit and credit, so we just have a balance column. Okay, now we're going to list every customer that owes us money. So if they don't owe us any money, they're not going on the list. So I go to my subsidiary ledger, accounts receivable ledger. Okay, I've got K Munkris, and they still owe us $482. Okay, so K Munkris, $482. Okay. Next one is M Richfield. They still owe us $2244.25. Okay, so M Richfield, $2244.25. Okay, next one is O.L. Myers. Now, O.L. Myers doesn't owe us anything. There's a zero. So I'm not putting them on the list. Okay, and Andrew Play owes us $1070. Okay, Andrew Play. Okay, and we're going to total that up. Okay, so we're going to add those up, and we've got 482 plus 2244.25 and 1070, and that equals 37.96 and 25 cents. Okay, now I need to compare that to the accounts receivable in the general ledger and make sure that's the same. So I'm going to go back over here to my ledgers, but now I'm going to go up to my general ledger to accounts receivable and see what is the running total balance on this particular day, the 9th, 37.96.25. Okay, 37.96.25. So that is that matches. And so I can put a check mark underneath there to show that I double checked it and that yes, it does match. So once again, I'm putting an asterisk to show that yes, I checked this. This is the total of all the customers, and it equals what's in accounts receivable in the general ledger. So at this point, I would be complete. Now, if you were doing the rest of this problem, you would have continued on with the rest of these transactions. These transactions are all similar. There's nothing new or different from what we had up here. You have to remember the sales tax, put in your journal entry, post it to the subsidiary and general ledgers, and when you're done at the end of the month, you would do a schedule of accounts receivable and make sure it equals. Okay, so you should be able to use this to complete your homework problem for Chapter 10.